I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say Simone Biles is a coward. She's a choke artist. She's pulling herself out of the Olympic Games all around because mentally she's not there. What? What? Look, there's athletes, or there isn't an athlete around the world, or let's just say in this country, that doesn't have personal problems. They're going through divorce. Their wife is being a pain. They're having problems with their kids. Who's going to take care of grandma? Who's going to do this or do that for elderly parents? Who's going to look after my kids in school? They got the same problems that you, Mr. Plumber, or you, Mr. Accountant, or you, Mr. Seamstress or cashier, or you, Mr. Whatever you do. Athletes have these problems too. Just because they make a lot of money doesn't mean that they don't have problems. They may be different, but they got issues. And yet, they show up at the ballpark, they show up at the court, they show up at the hockey rink, and they compete. They set all that aside and they compete. That was what Simone Biles supposed to do too. So she is pulling herself out the games. So she's letting not only her teammates down, but she's also letting down the country. She's there to represent us. Although, otherwise, why did you compete to be in the games? That to me, that doesn't make sense. And to try to say that she's being courageous for doing this, I'm sorry. She should have did this in the off years. All right, during the gymnastic championships that happen every year, that she competed and did wonderful things on that they were never done before. And now on the world stage, she now is not mentally thinking that she could do it in the Olympics, so she's pulling herself out. To me, that's a mental breakdown. But her job is to compete. Your job as an accountant is to do accounting. Your job as a lawyer is to do lawyering. Your job to do whatever you do in your profession. You're not happy with your husband. You're not happy with your wife. You're not happy with your kids. You're not happy with your in-laws. You're not happy with the very things that we all have to deal with. And yet we got to go to our jobs. We got to go to our 9 to 5 and take care of business and then go back home and deal with whatever we got to deal with. But we got to show up because we have to eat. So that's what Simone Biles is supposed to do. Otherwise, don't try out for the games. Why? I'm sorry, but I got to call it as I see it. This is not an act of courage. This is an act of cowardice. Now, she may have, legitimate problems, but and you can say that there's nothing else that she can do in gymnastics to prove herself. She's proven herself. As a matter of fact, she didn't have to come back to these games at all. All right? She got her gold. She got everything that she needed to do. Go on and live the rest of your life. But because you came back and you want to represent this country around in these games, well then, now it's time to show up and compete. You set all that personal bullshit to the side and you go